Well, I think I've talked to most people since I got here, but if I haven't, again, my name is Mike King, affectionately known as Kingpin around these parts, Brian McFadden, wherever you are, kind of tabbed that one. And somehow, despite nearing about 30 years of Deerhorn adventure and 6 father-sons, I've managed to avoid the speech. I think I'm the softest, sappiest dad here, so bear with me. But Grant Anopoli and all the guitarists last night said that this was a safe place, so we'll get through this. Nearing 30 years of camp, there's obviously a lot of material to go through, and I was pretty overwhelmed when Patrick asked me to give the speech to try to figure out what exactly it was that I might share. And then I was walking through camp a couple days ago with Ryan, my son, and he said, we started talking about sounds of Deerhorn. And Ryan said, "Dad, I love that crunch every time we walk through Coogee Row." And I started thinking to myself, okay, yeah, that's one of the awesome sounds of camp, and everybody here knows it. Whether you're trying to fall asleep, at night, and that last guy's going to the bathhouse, or somebody gets back from the birch, or whatever it may be. Or it's just that rollicking crunch, crunch, crunch through camp. And so I started thinking to myself, I'm nearing, 30 years of that crunch. And all the different phases of life, that crunch was there with me. And whether it was a camper when I started, or during my leader year, which was probably, for me, the most important year of my life, becoming myself and my best self up here, or later as a counselor, and in your shoes, being the gods of summer, and the weight of something greater than myself, and knowing, that it doesn't necessarily matter what I do here every day, but I've got this effect on all these kids. Crunch, crunch, crunch through Coogee Row. And none is necessarily better than the other. All the different stages of life are, can't be paralleled. But then I had Ryan, and 6 years later, 5 years later, we came to camp, and now together we've been crunching through Coogee Row. And I started thinking to myself, what is it about father-son camp, that kind of elevates Deerhorn, right? It's like Deerhorn on steroids, or Deerhorn taken to the next level. And I kept thinking about kind of what it is about father-son camp that just explodes this place, and it's the best 4-letter word that is uttered up here, and you got to listen for it. But at father-son camp, it's as loud as a boom, and it's as loud as a bell, and it's love. And it's a father's love for his son that just kind of overlays everything that camp is all about, and the community that you guys form here as counselors and staff and the Broadbridges. Everything you guys do just gets ratcheted up one last level because there's an army of dads here that wouldn't be anywhere else in the world than at camp with their boys. And you don't know it until they're born, but then they start getting older, and there's nothing like it in the world. And we're all type A dads, and we've all got places to be, especially when father-son falls on a Tuesday to a Friday. But there isn't one dad here that hasn't walked 20 feet behind his son and watched him, if you were a former camper, start going through the lessons that we all went through as kids. Watching him make those friends, starting to find out who he really is. And there's not a dad here that couldn't be more proud of you boys. So in closing, I just want to say to the staff and to the Broadbridges, thanks for coming up with father-son camp in the first place, because it gives a lot of us an ability to stay close and to watch our boys. And to the staff that makes this week and the 3 prior, the special thing that it is, thank you. Because again, there's no place that all of us dads would rather be, and you make it go as seamless as it could possibly be, and you encourage our boys, and they look up to you guys like it's you know, like I said, the gods of summer. Dear people. To the dads, I just want to say thank you, because whether it was encouraged yet, by now I think you all have heard that my son got up on skis for the first time. And you've all been so encouraging, and for all of our boys to take a step back and see the way that you all are with your boys, with an arm around their necks, or a hug after a competition. You know, our boys are seeing what fatherhood is all about up here at camp. And the world often doesn't show it to a lot of kids, and we do up here, and it's a tight community, and you know, it couldn't be a better place to spend. And to you boys, again, I want you all to know that you look at each of your dads. There's not a dad in here that would rather be anywhere else in the world than with you. And finally, to my son Ryan, you made my marriage a family, buddy. And there is no one on this earth that I love as much as I love you. And there's not a better friend that I have in this entire world than you. And so, I just want you to know that, pal. And these days that we spend up here are the most important and the most special crunch that I will ever do. And so here's to you, pal. And the last thing is, I asked him, I said, why is that crunch so special for you? And he said, Dad, because it's Deerhorn.